What is up, everybody, and welcome to Courtside Convos. Today's conversation is injury report and waiver wire pickups for Week 15. Something that I might start doing on the channel where, during these weeks for the NBA, I'm going to talk about people to maybe pick up some injury reports that are happening where, we could be a little cautious of, are these players worthy of pickup during this week, so then we can maybe potentially, do really good in like the pickup game or the waiver wire where we can, slightly win some competition, some weeks. For example, maybe last week, last day of the week, maybe you saw that Miles Turner was out and you said, okay, I'm going to pick Jalen Smith up, and Jalen Smith had a very good week. Something like that could happen, something easily quick like the pickup like there could happen. So we're going to be talking about some people that, I might start doing this every Monday where I'll just basically talk the players that we could potentially be seeing and an injury report reporting the players right there. So other than that, let's get started. And I'm not going to do huge ones or not do the small ones and everything. I'm going to do more huge players, more ones that really, really matter. But we'll start off with the Boston Celtics. Next 4 games versus the Pelicans, versus Indiana, versus Lakers, versus Memphis. All home game stands, which is very interesting for the Celtics. A lot of games in this little home stretch that are very close. I think after this, they actually have another home game. But the biggest question marks are Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, and Luke Kornet. Kristaps Porzingis injury a couple days ago with his ankle, I am pretty sure, out for the game and got out on Sunday's game. So we don't know his status coming up against this Pelicans game. He's still ruled questionable. Al Horford now somebody that has been scratched as questionable. But when we're looking at people that could be getting more reps into this, of course, you have your bigger stars probably going to play a little bit better. Derek White will probably do a little better. Drew Holiday will do a little bit better. But we're also probably, and Drew Holiday sometimes have been on that injury wire, but not recent, not tabbed on the injury wire. But Kristaps Porzingis, who are some players that we could pick up? Well, depending on how Al Horford and Luke Kornet are, Peyton Pritchard, first we'll talk about him actually. Peyton Pritchard's definitely somebody that, plays a great sort of 7th, 8th, 6-man role at times for the Celtics when they need to. Never has gone to that starting position, but still has great minutes off the bench, can give you some good points with decent stats. Al Horford and Luke Kornet, though, those are players that, when some players are out, like a Kristaps Porzingis, like a Drew Holiday, when people are out, they sometimes get the starting pick and start getting in that starting role. Luke Kornet, for example, was one of them. I think when Kristaps was out, maybe it was when Drew Holiday was out, actually. So that could be someone there. Al Horford's always a great option where you feel like, he is somebody that usually when one of these bigger stars are out, somebody does pop off. Al Horford's the one that usually does pop off. Easily some pickup options on the bit there for you, but we don't really know. Kristaps Porzingis is just questionable for Monday. We don't know if there is a chance that maybe this is an extended stretch or something else could happen. Up next, Brooklyn Nets. Games. 3 games this week. Interesting stretch. Utah, Phoenix, and Philly. Harder games probably with how great the Utah Jazz has been playing. Before maybe I said pretty easy game, but when we're looking at the Brooklyn Nets, Ben Simmons, and you heard this correctly, Ben Simmons is making a comeback and is expected to play on Monday, probably on a minute restriction, probably going to have the same thing maybe the next game. But when we're looking at this for maybe the last game at Philly, which I would not be shocked if they pull him out and rest him, we're going to have to see what happens, because if we look at it with the Nets and who's been kind of getting better minutes when people are gone, Lonnie Walker's probably the person that's standing out the most. If Ben Simmons does play against Phoenix and, 76ers, and he's off a minute restriction on the Suns and the Sixers, Lonnie Walker will be falling. And it does suck because Lonnie Walker has produced when he's produced for a good bench option, someone that has, exceeded when he needs to. But Ben Simmons coming back, it's really hard to judge what usage Ben Simmons is going to be in. Is he going to be in the role that he was before, where maybe he's eating donut nights, but he is somebody that is so excellent in the assist and rebounds where it doesn't really matter? Is he somebody that is going to be brought on the bench? Are they going to value other players over him because they've been there and he hasn't been playing as much of recent? Or are they going to look which I think they're going to do, which is, hey, when we first had him and we first had some players, even though it was just 6 games, some players, we were winning. And Ben Simmons could be looking at potentially somebody that enters the starting lineup, or I could really see him in that 6-man role. I would not be shocked. So we'll have to see. Dorian Finney-Smith also added here, injury with him against the Rockets, I want to say. The Rockets, where it looked like he hyperextended something with his leg. It just did not look good when he fell back down. So if he's out, I'm thinking a potential add with Royce O'Neal, who got those minutes afterwards when it came to the Rockets game. Also could be somebody that, plays very well depending on how other players play. With Cam Johnson potentially being out for a little bit more, which I think he's fully healthy now, but I'm just saying if a potential injury would happen, Royce O'Neal is definitely somebody you should be looking at on all leagues. Up next, Chicago Bulls. And for the games, they have Toronto, Charlotte, and Sacramento. Not too hard. Maybe with Toronto and Charlotte, but when we're looking at Sacramento, definitely a harder game. Zach LaVine out. This is the biggest thing. With these past couple of games, with Zach LaVine being out with injury till, it says, probably to the end of this week. Expected timeline for him is the Kings game, but I would not be shocked if he's out for the Kings game. There's some big ads I think have done very, very well, and that's Alex Caruso and Ayu Dosunmu. I always mess that up. I've heard Ayu the other day from a who did they play the other day? I heard that from an away commentator, and I thought it was wrong, but then I looked it up, and it supposedly is right. But I've heard Ayo more, so I'm gonna say Ayo for now. Anyways, Chicago Bulls. Ayo is actually crazy efficient. I think right now he's one of the first Chicago Bulls 50-40 90 players in a long time, even though he has small averages, which is insane to say. Probably had the game-winning block against the Trailblazers yesterday. Alex Caruso, though, is somebody that has been, if he is on your waiver wire somehow, some way, you should pick him up easily in the starting lineup. Same with Ayo. I mean, they both are now in the starting lineup with Zach LaVine kind of out. And Patrick Williams has been potentially out for a little bit more. So with that in mind, I think these are options that if you're needing to dig deep, needing somebody to maybe have a pop-off game here and there, these are players that easily can pop off for you. Really excited to see what they can do, because if they are players that are going to be, very nice and really become scoring options when needed to, they'll help you tremendously out in your league. 9-cat leagues, if Ayo being so efficient, he could be really somebody that can help you in that field goal percentage and, the points category as well. Alex Caruso also as well can be a crazy steal guy for you. Up next, Cleveland Cavaliers. 4 games this week. Their last, the Clippers game. I don't know if that is away or if that is actually away. I don't remember, but I remember that. I don't know if it actually is. I think that is a home game. Let me know down in the comments below. Versus Detroit, at Memphis, at Spurs. Darius Garland and Evan Mobley are looking like they will be returning this week. Evan Mobley has been probable for Monday's game. Darius Garland already ruled out, which is very, very interesting. I have these players down here below because I want to talk to them with how the impact of them coming back is. And there's reasons why Jared Allen maybe looks like he is the fantasy GOAT right now, but in some categories or some leagues. But in reality, when we're looking at maybe a dynasty-wise long-term, or maybe we're looking at what could be it for the end of the season, it's not probably the best. And I say this, and I'll talk about Jared Allen actually, I guess, first. Evan Mobley has been kind of deemed the starting center for the Cavs, and they've been trying to push it for a long time. But the problem is that will Evan Mobley always will reach his potential of being that starting center if Jared Allen is the one starting center and Evan Mobley's a 4? Well, they try to trade Jared Allen. They try to move on, build the team, do certain scenarios, whatever it could be. People weren't buying. So with that in mind, we've already seen at the beginning of the season, you look at it, Jared Allen's got a minute decrease. Could that be because of Max Strus being here? Could that be because they want more shooters where they kind of need the shooting? Could that be something else? I don't know. But Evan Mobley hasn't decreased. If anything, he's increased in those minutes. So with Evan Mobley now coming back, are we going to see the same Jared Allen we saw before when he was gone? Probably not. Are we going to see the same Jared Allen that we saw at the beginning of the season where it was kind of disappointed, whatever? Probably. So it's going to be very interesting, really, what to see. Darius Garland coming back is probably going to hurt Caris LeVert the most, because Caris LeVert feels like anytime there are players that are out, he goes off. So if Darius Garland coming back as a guard being there, going to hurt, especially with Mitchell right there. Evan Mobley maybe not as much for Caris LeVert. Max Strus is an if on here, kind of, because Max Strus was actually getting his own when all the players were there. People were probably leaving him wide open, and he was able to score more. But also at the same time, a lot of the touches taken away from him, even though he's played kind of mid right now. A lot of the touches are taken away from him, and you hate to see that, truthfully. Up next, Dallas Mavericks. Games versus Orlando, at Minnesota, and versus Milwaukee. Some harder games for the Dallas Mavericks, in my opinion, this week. But let's look at their injuries. Kyrie, question mark on him, because we don't really know when is he coming back from this injury he's had. Because you would think that maybe he wouldn't have missed the past 2 games, but he has. And he's already ruled out for the Magic game. So now you're going to have him for only 2 games this week. And when thinking about that, who are the potential adds I'm looking at? And the first one that comes to mind is Tim Hardaway Jr., who's very underrated in my opinion, has played very well this season and has played excellent, why can I not say that? Excellently when it came to playing when needed to, scoring when needed to. Dante Exum is somebody that has kind of revived his career a little bit. Definitely did not expect that. Was not on my bingo card this year. And he is somebody that is questionable. But if he is somebody that's going to be playing, I think if you're really, really needing to dig deep, Dante Exum could be an excellent position and player that you could pick up easily. Up next, we have the Indiana Pacers at New York Knicks. I don't know why. I should have done a K right there for NYK. But it's going to be interesting for the New York Knicks again, because there's a lot of players on their team that is just questionable. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if there's going to be players. If we're looking at some players out, I'll talk about each individual right now. Miles Turner. If Miles Turner is out like he was last game, I would try and pick up a Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson, somebody like that to enter that starting position. Probably Jalen Smith first. Somebody like that would play very, very well next to a Pascal Siakam. Isaiah Jackson hasn't really got the minutes that he probably deserved. So that's someone right there. If Miles Turner's out, if Tyrese Haliburton is out, you're probably looking at all 3 of those at the bottom. Aaron Nesmith also is a little bit on Miles Turner. Very well. Definitely a bigger option with his defensive capabilities and his offensive capabilities. I think that's a bigger role that could be involved. Benedict Mathurin, when Tyrese is not there, and especially when Miles Turner is not there, he's going to put it on for a show. TJ McConnell right now is questionable, was out this past game. But usually when Tyrese is out, TJ McConnell has these crazy, wild games that you did not expect TJ McConnell to still have in him. I would not be shocked if TJ McConnell has won some crazy game this week if Tyrese Haliburton is continuously out. Hopefully that they do return here soon. Questionable both for Boston, but we'll have to see what happens. Up next for the Memphis Grizzlies, we have, when we've talked about teams that, this is the wonderful thing about fantasy. If you need people to dig deep, if you need people to be on the waiver wire and you instantly pick up and have some success that you can keep on your roster, there's usually that 1 or 2 teams that are so horrible that all their starters are not playing this whole season and they have all these backups that just keep playing, and you're the lucky one to pick up one of them. That right now is Vince Williams Jr. in my opinion. With the Memphis Grizzlies, it feels like everyone's out at this point except for Jaren Jackson Jr. Players to pick up like Xavier Tillman's another one to pick. Santi Aldama. The Vince Williams and Santi have the most well-rounded game. Where if you're looking at 9 cat leagues, these are going to be excellent players to pick up. Vince Williams has been crazy. I remember when I first made the 5 players you should pick up for the rest of the season, I mentioned Vince Williams, and then he just shot in extended past my expectations for him. Santi Aldama is somebody that is, we could be really seeing somebody that is that great passing power for Memphis Grizzlies for the rest of the season. Could be put into the starting lineup. I really do like Santi Aldama, but if you have the option of getting Vince Williams right now, you have to do it. Up next, New York Knicks. 4 games this week: Charlotte, Utah, Indiana, and Lakers. It's going to be very interesting because Julius Randle dislocated his right shoulder, I am pretty sure, recently against the Heat, if I'm not mistaken. So, what is going to happen with him? In my opinion, being out probably this whole week, there's going to be 3 people that you should be looking at. And I keep saying this all the time, but Isaiah Hartenstein, getting dropped now a lot in ESPN leagues, I've noticed, is somebody that you should pick up immediately if there is someone there, because of his rebound capability, his playmaking ability that he still offers. He is somebody that is going to get those high rebound games, is someone that can pass when he's needed to. And with somebody like a Julius Randle now out, and he's already the starting center, it's going to be incredible for the New York Knicks in that case scenario. Some other people that could be getting very good, not maybe starts, but Josh Hart could start, I guess. Josh Hart could start potentially now for the New York Knicks. Could be somebody that is into that. I just kicked the crap out of this mirror in front of me. Could be looking at somebody for the New York Knicks that could be starting with Julius Randle out. He has been an excellent offensive rebounder. He's usually kind of like a Swiss Army knife type of player recently. Could be good. It's just deep picks. Dante DiVincenzo is somebody that feels like he always has that crazy game every other week, and he's had a crazy 30-something point game. With Julius Randle out, with somebody that has taken a lot of touches away. Where are the touches going to go? Of course, some are going to go Brunson, some's going to go to OG, some will probably go somewhere else, and then a little bit could be sprinkled onto one of these 3 ads. Going to be very interesting, but definitely some people to be looking at. And last but certainly not least, the Toronto Raptors. And I want to talk about the Raptors. I originally wasn't, but it's been interesting. RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and Jakob Poeltl have been out for the past couple games, I guess it's been a couple games. Emmanuel Quickly was out for 2 games. I don't know how much Barrett was, but Jakob Poeltl's been out for a little bit. Pearl looks like he's going to continuously be out. Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett, we don't really know what's going to happen with them with Chicago. So what are some potential adds if they are gone? Well, the Raptors, there's been some players that have excelled and went crazy for them in a couple of games so far with them being gone. And to my shocking surprise, I did not expect Bruce Brown to be someone that's still not picked up in most leagues. I did not expect someone like Gary Trent Jr. maybe not picked up in most leagues. But if those 2 are still on the waiver wire and these 3 are still out, please pick them up. Bruce Brown and Gary Trent Jr., especially Bruce Brown in 9-cat leagues, has excellent capabilities to be a great scorer and to be able to pass, assist, be able to shoot the ball, be able to rebound the ball. He has played on every position, I'm pretty sure, in the NBA. So if that doesn't show you that he's the most Swiss Army knife type of player where he's a utility player that can do it all, I don't know what does. Gary Trent Jr., when it's needed to, he can get hot. And with Scotty Barnes being there and surrounding him with shooters that's going to have to score the ball the most, Gary Trent Jr. is obviously somebody that is going to look very nice for the Toronto Raptors and for just trying to win. And when they're going against Chicago, which should be close, been close before, when they're going against Houston, which could be close too, and the Pelicans, which maybe not as close. Houston is another iffy one because they just lost to the Nets, but also they'll beat one of the best teams in the West. we're going to have to see. But honestly, if those two are on there and we see 2 out of the 3 gone, I would pick them up. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to look at more content from me on Lesser Athletes, doing a podcast recently on there. There's also some interesting content I talk about, like other than fantasy, like projecting the All-Stars that you will see this Thursday. There's going to be more content on the channel, probably a video this Friday talking about my fantasy All-Stars. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.